Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve. Welcome to Born to Achieve podcast, the show that inspires and motivates you to unlock your full potential and achieve your goals. With your host, Warren Andrew Pinder. Let's get started on this week's episode of Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve.
I am born to achieve greatness, and so are you. On this episode of the Born to Achieve Greatness podcast, we have as our guest Mr. Shane Perry, who is a successful entrepreneur after the tragic passing of his daughter at age 19, embarked on a mission to share his expertise beyond his business. As an achievement coach, he is renowned for his deep understanding of human behavior and his ability to empower individuals to get out of their own way and finally achieve their goals. His system takes people from being stuck in their comfort zone to being able to not only recognize it, but leave it behind and create a new zone where they're doing what's needed to build their ideal life. Shane's passion lies in helping people break free from living a life of mediocrity to becoming a high-performance individual. Welcome, Shane, to the Born to Achieve Greatness podcast show.
Thanks for having me, Warren and Dominique. I'm really happy to be here.
Great. It's good to have you here and to speak on that, as you just mentioned, your comfort zone. So many of us want to be better. We want to achieve so much in life, but for some reason, we are caught up and stuck in that place where we are comfortable. And that's a real interesting spin for us to hear from you exactly how it affects us and what can we do to change it.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. The thing is there's a lot of, you can, especially on social media, you can go anywhere and you can see all kinds of memes and sayings about the comfort zone. You see all the circles with the growth zone and the fear zone and all of that. And it's true. And all the sayings, where success lies outside of your comfort zone and how we need to leave our comfort zone. And I think people really know that, but it's rare that anybody actually talks about how our comfort zone was built in the first place, why it's so difficult to leave it behind, and why it's so easy when they do embark on a goal, how it's so easy to come back to that comfort zone. So that's really what I specialize in and help people with.
Oh, excellent. I need you to expand because all of us are guilty of actually, being afraid of the unknown when we leave our comfort zone.
Absolutely. Well, there's 5 areas of our life. There is relational, spiritual, recreational, financial, and physical or fitness or diet. Those are the 5 areas of our life. And anytime that somebody wants to take one of those areas to a new level, the first thing that a lot of people don't realize is that it requires a goal. It's actually you're setting a goal. And a lot of people, most people, do not know how to properly set and go after a goal. So you pick an area. The most common goal set in the world is fitness related. It's diet. It's to lose weight. That's the number one goal in the world that is set. Across the board, 92% of people who set goals either don't achieve them or they do achieve it, but they fall back to where they were.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be discouraging. So people, listening to this broadcast right now might be thinking like, well, wow, so I've got an 8% chance. No, that's not true. The number one reason people do not achieve their goals is because of the things that we're going to talk about here today. And it is all mental. And that, Warren, is a really tough thing for a lot of people it's a tough pill for them to swallow, because we live in a very tangible world, right? If we spend $100, we expect to be able to take it home, unpackage it, plug it in, and turn it on, right? Anything that exists in the intangible. So what we're talking about here today, we're talking about mentality shifts. We're talking about mindset. That's a hard grasp. Like if you've got a group of 100 people in a room and you're saying, I'm going to show you how to do something, they're going to take notes on how to do it. And then when you say, let me give you the mindset to achieve it, a lot of them will put down their pencils and go, okay, well, whatever, because they don't take it serious enough. Yeah. And so to be that 8% of someone who achieves their goal, that is, in my opinion, that's how I define what a high performance individual is. It doesn't have to do with athletics or anything like that. It's somebody that sets a goal, does what's required to achieve it, achieves that goal, maintains it. You're a high performance individual, and the world is full of great starters, great beginners, but very few finishers. And it is, as I mentioned a second ago, it's almost always because it's mental. So it starts with recognizing the area of your life that you want to take to a new level. And then it requires setting a goal. So the first thing that I do with people is I get them entrenched into the proper goal setting process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. We'll be right back.
Achieve Man, written by Warren Andrew Pinder and Dominique Bradford. This book passionately focuses on the challenges women have been made to go through and how to overcome them. In some cultures, being a woman disadvantages the girl child. This book carefully exposes the hurdles you might face. This masterpiece is the ultimate self-help guide for women. It reveals your true purpose and identity. Get your copy today. Available from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
So in the process, once you have decided what you have identified the goals that you want to achieve, and you just walk them through this now, understanding that the mere fact that you have done so, you'll be placed in a real special category of persons around the world who will actually see it through. So the next step, once they have decided and they're working toward achieving this goal, like you said, is all mental. Keep us going.
Sure.
Help us just to, for persons to really, get right into the point where they can get out of their comfort zone and get things doing, taking action.
Absolutely. I will say this will be a common theme throughout today's podcast is you'll hear me say this phrase a lot, that a lot of it is just becoming aware of these things. By people just becoming aware of something, of what we're talking about here, is oftentimes enough for them to be able to get past it. So it starts with, you're going to set a goal, and you must write that goal down. And right there is where most people already fail, because they think it's dumb. They think it's corny to write it down. Literally, the act of writing it down, even if you never look at it again, the act of writing it is scientifically proven to implant it into our brain. You have to write down a goal, and people need to set a 90-day, a 6-month, and a 2-year goal. A lot of them set a 12-month goal as well, but 90 days, 6 months. I'm the big believer. A big part of my process is building your life in 90-day cycles, which we'll get to. So you write down your ultimate goal of what you want to do, but you need to lay it out in 90-day, 6-month, 12-month, 2-year goals. A lot of people do 12 months. So you write it down. Then once you write down the goal, you have to cultivate it. I call it cultivating your goal. So let's say your goal is you're starting a business, an entrepreneurial venture, and your goal is obviously to make more money and create a free life for yourself. Let's just say, well,
Right.
you need to really try to write that down, that goal. How much money do you want to make? And then ultimately, and where do you want to have this business in 90 days? Cultivating that goal means you need to surround yourself with not only the goals that you've written down, but you everything from a vision board, a dream board, which I'm a big believer in. Again, a lot of people just won't do it because they think it's corny, but these are also the people that don't achieve their goals. We got to get people through that. But even what I have people do a lot of times is, like, if let's say you're an entrepreneur and your goal is to take your business to $250,000 a year, when your lifestyle is at $250,000 a year, obviously your lifestyle is going to change. What are some things that are going to change? What car do you think you're going to buy? What kind of house you're going to live in? What kind of vacations? Go find and print out pictures of those, and you need to put them on your bathroom mirror. You need to put them in your car. You need to surround yourself. If it's weight loss, let's say, what kind of clothes do you want to wear? How are you going to feel when you get there? What about your life is going to change when you lose that weight? And you need to actually print out tangible sayings or pictures or visions, and you have to surround yourself with them. And I'm going to say it again. Most people won't do this because they think it's kind of corny. Yet go talk to anybody with any past record of success, whether they're a business or entrepreneur or sports, anyone, they will always tell you, you need to write down your goals and you need to surround yourself with them. So you write your goals down, you cultivate them. Now you've got to create your action plan, which is what you were mentioning a second ago. Okay, so you want to lose this weight. How are you going to do it? Whatever it is, whether it's entrepreneurial, spiritual, relational, physical, whatever it may be, you probably need help. So you need to find the experts, maybe join a gym if you want to, hire a trainer, go online. People buy diets, people find mentors, whatever it is, find somewhere where you could figure out, okay, what do I have to do? Myself, I'm 57 years old. Okay, so if I wanted to lose weight, it's going to be a little different for me at 57 years old than it might be for someone who's 27 years old, right?
Right.
Find the action plan and find the action plan that's going to work for you. Now comes the comfort zone stuff. Okay. This is where we get into that, because now comes, it's easy to, Dominique, it's easy to write down goals, cultivate them, and create an action plan. That's the easy, fun part, right?
Yeah.
We like strategizing. It's just the actual implementation of it is where we kind of get thrown for a little bit of a loop. So one of the things that I really work with people say, okay, well, let's determine how your comfort zone was built. First thing you need to understand is that the comfort zone is your enemy, and that's how you need to look at it. It is the enemy of your success. Okay. Our comfort zone was built primarily through habits and routines over the years, right? Because we are creatures of comfort and we don't like change. So we have our habits, we have our routines, our lifestyle, right? The comfort zone is also a product of our paradigm. Now, a paradigm in its simplest form is simply someone's worldview about a specific topic. Okay, so let's stick with the weight loss, since it is the number one goal set in the world. You've got someone who says, look, I've been heavy my whole life. I've tried diets before. Some have worked, some haven't, but even the ones that worked, I gained the weight back, but I'm going to give this a shot. Well, right off the bat, I'm not going to say they're negative, but that's not the paradigm you want. Their paradigm is already of failure. I've always been heavy. I've never been able to lose weight. I've tried, it doesn't work, but I'm going to try it again. Okay. So again, this is one of those things where just being aware that this is a paradigm and it needs to change. So we'll put them through an exercise going, okay, it's really simply just take some time, write down what your paradigm is, how you view this, and what you think your worldview needs to be if you're going to succeed in this. It's not hard to do, right? If it's an entrepreneurial venture and you've been, you were just raised with normal, hardworking parents, and you just always been a hardworking person, and all of a sudden you want to embark on an entrepreneurial venture and you want to change your life, that paradigm is going to be a lot of, I should be happy. I was taught that I should be happy with what I have, and that people like me don't make it, and it's probably not going to work, and it's probably some deal, and it's probably too good to be true. That is a lot of people's paradigm as they dive into a venture, and it needs to change. And then the last real area that has created this paradigm, or created this comfort zone, is what I call here in America, and is worldwide, the middle class mentality. And it's what it really means is if you weren't born and raised in an environment of achievement and success, which, let's be honest, most of us weren't. Most of us grew up with just, were you raised with a family that was hyper successful and hyper achievement? And so from the time you were a child, you were taught that you can do it and achievement is everything, and you set goals, you achieve it. It's less than 4% of the population. So it's kind of everybody else. And everybody else, we were typically raised with this middle class mentality. And this is some of it I just talked about, where we're just taught through society, tradition, everything, like go to work, get a job, be happy. We should be happy with what we have. People like us don't make it. Keep your money in the bank where it's safe. We're almost taught, like, don't try to achieve, just conform and be like everybody else. And we're taught to be like everybody else. That mentality that most of us were raised with is a significant contributor to our comfort zone. Okay. So now I'll pause there for a second if you want to keep going, or if you want to.
No, I'm just like, as you speak, right? And I'm listening to, it's interesting.
Okay.
How much of it is self-inflicted? Or is it you're creating this comfort zone because of your experience, what you see, what you are taught from your parents, of course, the environment, but so when we grasp to something that we like, but yet we're desiring to achieve more. Like you said, it's your worst enemy. But how much of it is, the question is, how much of it is actually self-inflicted?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Most of it, and so now as we embark on, first and foremost, just being aware, as I mentioned,
right,
recognizing I've built a comfort zone. And for me to achieve this goal is going to require me to leave this comfort zone, which means it's going to be uncomfortable. Okay. So just recognizing that and understanding that.
Now for a commercial break.
Achieve Men, written by Warren Andrew Pinder. In this book, you will learn the 7 steps to achieving your dreams and goals. Given the vision to share how the acronym of the word achieve can be used systematically in your day-to-day life. Each of us is given a unique gift from God. Get your copy today. Available in print, ebook, and audiobook from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
As you said right now, I'm working. I have a good job. I'm an incredible opportunity that's came about that's going to mean that I move to another country. To explain, help a person to understand how, that could affect or just basically not affect your achievement.
Boy, that's big. You find a new job or a business opportunity and it's going to require you to leave the country. Yeah, you're going to not only leave your comfort zone behind, you're going to uproot and flip it upside down on its head, right?
Yeah.
Now, normally in that kind of a situation, it's not typically as hard because you're so excited about where you're going and what you're going to do.
Right.
Whereas most goals we set, again, like the weight loss or diet, we're not sure if it's going to work out. We're not sure if we're going to achieve it. There's the kind of that unsure thing. And so the first thing to do is understand that you have a comfort zone. And one of the exercises that I put people through is determine what your character traits are that keep you not only stuck in your comfort zone, but could keep you from doing what you need to do. So I always use myself as an example. When I did not go to college. So I was born in a small farming town here in California. I delivered beer. I worked for a beer company. It's the only job I ever had. And when I was 21 years old, I crossed paths with an opportunity. And I was very excited because I just didn't want to have a boss. I was very excited, but I was kind of a failure my first 2 years. I mean, my dad was very upset with me because he saw me quit what he thought was a good job to do something that wasn't working. And now at the time, I didn't know what I know now, but looking back, I know exactly what it was. And so my entire life, still to this day, there's 4 character traits about me that if I'm not careful, will keep me from doing what I need to do to move areas of my life. And they are, one is I'm a natural procrastinator. I'm not lazy, but I'm a procrastinator. I will put off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is I have an intense fear of rejection. I mean, an intense fear of rejection. Number 3, I care way, way, way too much about what other people might think or say about me. And that one right there really kept me from getting out of my comfort zone and doing what I needed to do the first 2 years. After the first 2 years, I was finally like, I just got to go do it. And I did it. And come to find out.
Sound like you have blood flowing to your veins. You're a normal person.
Yeah. And come to find out, no one's thinking anything because no one thinks about you. Everyone's too self-involved. They don't care what you're doing, right? Yeah. But I've still to this day, I still care too much about what people think. And lastly is I'm easily distracted. All right. I have a little bit of ADD going on, but I easily get I have struggle at times to stay focused on the task at hand. So those are my 4 things, my 4 character traits that I have always had to overcome in battle in order to take any area of my life to a new level. So as far as me, my business runs itself. I built a 7-figure business, and that business was primarily involved around locating, mentoring, training, helping, inspiring people. That's how this whole program, Disruption Factor, my company came about, because I've got 35 years of mentoring, watching, studying people, and I've just learned what makes them tick. But so I digress. So figure out what the traits are. In other words, I want you to anticipate, what do you think are the things that are going to, because if you're going to do this diet, for example, you need to clean the junk food out of, you probably need to stop eating after 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, ideally. You need to stop drinking soda. You know this. You've got to stop eating sweets, and you've got to find somewhat of an exercise regimen. I'm not a physical expert, although I'm very entrenched in the physical, in the fitness community.
Right.
Okay, so if you do these things, first of all, what are the character traits? They might say, well, I put off. I can have every intention to do something this afternoon when I get home from work, goal related, but when I get home from work, I'm probably going to be tired. The kids are hungry, and I'm going to find an excuse why I just put it off till tomorrow. So that's something, that's a character trait. A character trait of mine is part of my comfort zone is I'm surrounded by people that are just like me. So if I embark on this lifestyle transition, I'm not going to be so comfortable hanging around with these people, let's just say, because I just can't do what they do in certain areas. There's a lot. And then one of the things we'll do is like, okay, so here's where the name of my company is Disruption Factor.
That's right. All right.
Disruption Factor. Now, Disruption Factor is the actual term that I've coined for the biggest obstacle to keep us from leaving our comfort zone and staying out there. And what it simply means is when you embark on a goal, you implement your action plan. This is what I'm going to do to achieve this goal. And you start. Obviously, you're out of your comfort zone now. Your habits and routines have changed. You're doing things that are new. So all of it is uncomfortable. And here's the two things that every single goal that you set have in common. One, you're typically never where you thought you'd be when you thought you'd be there. Okay. So my goal was to lose 10 pounds the first month. I lost 1 pound, right? The discouraging aspect, almost every goal you set, rarely are you ever where you thought you'd be when you thought you'd be there. And if you're not prepared for that, it's discouraging. And you're like, God, I just killed myself for the first month and I lost 1 pound. Are you kidding? I could have done that by, right? And so they start to give up, right? So just be prepared for that. That is going to happen with every goal you set. And the second thing that every goal you set has in common is you are going to experience a ton of disruption in your life before you even see an ounce of success. It just is going to happen. You're going to get hit with so much disruption. You know, my own personal journey, I've always been kind of fit and in shape.
Right.
In my 40s, I didn't do anything. I did the high protein diet. I would gain 20 pounds and then lose it, gain it, lose it, gain it, lose it, which is, they called it the keto diet. Hyper unhealthy, shouldn't have done it. By the time I would turn 50, I just didn't look good. I was awful. So I didn't do anything. And 4 years ago, I woke up one day and I knew what I had to do. And I did. I just got up. I put gym clothes on, old gym clothes that I had. I went and joined a gym and I started. And I found a mentor and I've been at it ever since. Okay. So when that happened, not even a week, 3 or 4 days into this, I was dying, man. I mean, I'm so sore. I can't even brush my teeth. You know, I'm going to bed hungry because I changed my eating habits. I'm fighting cravings of, you know, I want to eat this, but I can't. It was rough. And it was at that moment that I told myself, I was like, oh my gosh, for the first time ever, I've got to actually practice what I preach. I've got to follow my own plan here because I'm setting a goal, and I did. And that was a big reason that, and then the passing of my daughter a year later, that caused me to really take this program that I've already been mentoring and helping people with and actually turn it into an actual business.
Okay.
But so you anticipate the disruption. Well, what's that disruption going to be? Well, if it's, again, diet, fitness, you're going to go to bed hungry. You're going to have cravings. You're going to probably have caffeine headaches because you got to stop drinking soda. You got to find time to exercise. And that alone is not easy because people are busy. And then when you do, man, a couple of days in, you're going to be so sore. You can't even get out of bed. You can't even brush your teeth. And it's awful. And combine all this disruption to your habits, your routine, your whole life is turned upside down. Disruption. Besides that, combine that with the fact that after your first month or so, you're probably not going to be anywhere close to where you hope to be. And you're putting in all this effort and people just throw in the towel. And again, just by anticipating this and being aware of it. So one of the things that we'll do is, you know, because it's kind of a cycle, Warren, it's a cycle of, you know, you've got your comfort zone, you set a goal, you embark on your goal, you leave your comfort zone, you're working towards your goal, disruption hits, and you go right back to your comfort zone. Right. And you can always tell when someone's about to give up on their goal, because they don't sit there and go, I'm going to give up. They start to justify. They enter the justification phase. In other words, they're like, well, you know, I mean, I know I'm out of shape, but it's not like I'm fat. And it's not, you know, most of my friends are out of shape. I mean, most people are out of shape, or people that embarked on an entrepreneurial venture will be like, well, I mean, at least I have a job. And it's not like I hate my job. When they start justifying their life, you know, they're about ready to like give up on their goal.
Give up on it. Yeah.
So
there's nothing's wrong with that though. But I mean, these are common problems. And you know, you're helping us today with a solution. But continue, because I'm sure some of our listeners right now are tuned in to what you're saying, man.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and motivating. Born to Achieve. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Stay focused on your goals, and we'll see you on the next episode of Born to Achieve.
Take advantage of this incredible opportunity. Sign up today and claim your free ebook at www.borntoachievegreatness.com. Follow us on Facebook at Achieve Movement Inc. Get your copy of Exploring Achieveland, A Journey to Realize Your Dreams, Motivational Stories of Kindness, Inspiring Stories for Kids on Amazon and Kindle.